Breaking news. New York City have just elected its first Muslim Brotherhood Gen Z communist mayor. Socialist. I forgot socialist. I mean, it's just quite crazy that this guy was elected, to be honest, but it is what it is. He not only was elected, he won more than 50% of the votes. I think about 2 million people came to vote, which is quite a lot from what I understand for, the average votes in that city. And more than 1 million voted for a Muslim Brotherhood, pro jihadist, communist, socialist, Gen Z, you name it. Very controversial person, but he was elected. He is the mayor of New York City. Now, I will show you right now my theory. Why did he get elected? Hello, Linda. Welcome. You're the first one to join the show. And Captain Raper, love from Las Vegas. Love you back. So, I don't think that Mamdani himself was so brilliant and so sophisticated in his campaign. I don't know if you watched the movie Idiocracy, but I think it's more related to that. I just think that a lot of the voters that voted for Zohran Mamdani are, let's put it let's say it gently, are not aware of the full spectrum of challenges and dangers that can come with such person running as the mayor of your city. Not only as a mayor of your city, but also the message that it actually sends for other radical jihadist Muslim Brotherhood Taqiyya people that are running to take over America. I don't think they understand that, especially when you see a lot of his voters. And we're going to show you some of the videos here. It's mind blowing. The fact that they choose to side with a radical Muslim while being part of the LGBT community or many other, very liberal communities just show how delusional have young Americans became. They have a very comfortable life. I guess they don't travel a lot. I mean, maybe they go to Cancun, Mexico, or like American resorts, vacation places, or Starbucks. Going to Starbucks, guys, is not traveling and seeing the world. And they probably just don't know how problematic is communism, how problematic is Muslim Brotherhood. Now, people said to me before, I don't know if he's a Muslim Brotherhood, guys. Let me just make it very clear. He is undoubtedly a Muslim Brotherhood. He ticks every box. First of all, it's very easy to see if someone is Muslim Brotherhood. Anyone who is pro-Palestine is a Muslim Brotherhood, either by on purpose or by proxy, because Palestine, Gaza, is the poster boy, is the Judenrat of Muslim Brotherhood. It's literally, it's not the Judenrat, the Hitler Youth of Muslim Brotherhood. It is literally the definition of Muslim Brotherhood on steroids. Now, a lot of times when you have a Muslim Brotherhood living among you in the West, he's going to be very careful. And that's exactly the whole idea of Muslim Brotherhood, of not saying it out loud, because he needs to have a taqiyya. A taqiyya means that he needs to hide his true identity. Let me show you a video here, quite towards the end, that explained this so well, this Muslim Brotherhood thing. By the way, look at some of the followers of Mamdani. Some of the people. Oh, here's this video. That's crazy. Here's the video. Let's play it.
New era of leadership. We will fight for you because we are you. Or as we say on Steinway, ana minkum wa ilaykum.
He chose to speak Arabic at the day that he was elected. And the words that he chose to say in Arabic, they didn't come out of nowhere. Ana minkum wa ilaykum. Let's see that again. And I'll explain.
Ana minkum wa ilaykum.
I am from you, I'm from within you, and I am here for you. Now, most people will just think, it's so cute, he's one of us. They don't understand who is he talking to. He's not talking to you, New Yorkers. He's not talking to you, gay people in New York, liberal people, Jews of New York who elected him. He's not talking to you. He's not from you and for you. No. He's talking about the Muslim movement, which is to come and take over the West, starting by capital after capital. First, they took London. Now they took New York City, big cities. And later on, we already have Michigan and in many other cities. There's a very clear agenda of what's happening here. Now, before we jump in, let's go back to. I know there's a lot of people that are very, very afraid of the move of someone like Mamdani and his followers and the policies that he's bringing. Some people are saying he's going to completely destroy New York City and he's going to, you know, just going to be catastrophe. Bye bye, New York City. I don't think New York City will fall so fast. Is it falling? Absolutely. I think let's break it down to some of the problems. One of the biggest problems here is not only who's going to run away from New York City, because let's be honest, it's not only about starting a business. I mean, yes, business people right now are going to come and look and say, like, this guy's crazy. It's literally, it doesn't worth to start a business in New York City. Let us get out of here. I think what's even more concerning than the millionaires running away and billionaires and business people running from New York City and people who want to start businesses not coming to New York City for obvious reasons, because he want to give everything for free and, he's very much against capitalism, is the question who will come to New York City? Who do you think is going to start coming right now after they saw this? It's not going to be business people. It's not going to be inventors. It's not going to be people who literally helped America become America. It's going to be freeloaders. It's going to be anarchists. It's going to be Antifas. It's going to be more of these Columbia students. That's the kind of people that are going to start flocking to New York City. So he is literally going to change the entire DNA of New York City. Now, is his plan to destroy the city and bring it down to ashes? Maybe yes, maybe not. I don't think deliberately. He might be himself a useful idiot, for the bigger scheme of jihad. Maybe yes, maybe that's a plan, and that's definitely a good tactic. What he's doing, he's textbook doing a good tactic of invade the city, take it over, destroy it from within, destroy its economy. I mean, come on, turning New York City to Gotham City, defunding the police, and emptying the prisons. If that's not the definition of what Bane did in Gotham City. Bane came to Gotham City. If you don't remember the movie Batman, he went and the first thing he did, he emptied the prison and gave everybody machine guns running the streets. So just these ideas of destroying one of the most richest, financial, stable, strong cities from within is already a very crazy move. But let's see, who do we think
and a new era for
this is brilliant. Watch this.
City. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com. Now let's get to work. A few months ago to stop sending us money for this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This
So the whole thing of what, I mean, seriously, guys, honestly, what is the game? What is the game here? I mean, how are you going to run a city? You need money to run a city. Obviously, when all your campaign is everything's going to be for free, someone needs to pay for that. And that's what I mean. Young Americans, I feel, don't really understand from a communism, socialism perspective. What does it mean to have a city? What does it mean to have sewage in your city? Your bathrooms working, electricity, hot water, restaurants, taxis, services, people cleaning the roads, fixing the road, people replacing electricity poles, people taking the garbage, mail. All these things, they come because you have a system where people who work get paid and that business generates enough revenue to keep going. Otherwise, it will collapse. The same thing with the government. The government is not going to just throw money and invent money in the air. I mean, they can do that, but then you have an inflation. So basic stuff that are happening there are quite crazy.
Transition requires staff, built and work.
So here are some of the voters of Mamdani.
I think we should abolish jail and we should allow all the violent immigrants and yes,
We should allow them to what?
stay here.
Okay. Do you think that we could abolish jails, get all the violent immigrants, your words, and all the violent felons in jail? Could we put them here at USF on campus?
Yes, and I'll hang out with them.
You'll hang out with them?
You'll hang out with them. Let's bring the people from Jamin.
Who do you guys?
Does she understand? We're talking about drug cartels. We're talking about very, very evil people, gangs that literally kill people, skin them alive, put their bodies, in concrete walls, abuse women and children. Like literally, jails are holding the scumbags of humanity. Yes, once in a while, you have an error in the system, which is terrible, where an innocent man will pay the price of going to jail unlawfully. That's terrible. These stories, but that's how. What is that? 0.0 what percent? Seriously, what kind of percent? So 99. It's safe to assume. I'm just gonna throw numbers. Safe to assume that 95% of people in jail are there because they broke the law, and that law is there for a reason. So some of the voters for coming and actually, first of all, for Mamdani to play on innocent, I don't know if call them innocent, but ignorant voters like that, who, like I said, their life is too comfortable. They probably haven't traveled outside of America, and going to Starbucks does not mean traveling. And they've probably never been to the Middle East, probably never been to a real third world country or a failing communist country, socialist country. And they just, they come and they say stupid stuff like that. But it used to be that you had to deal with stupid words like that when you were an adult dealing with a toddler, with a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old. They will say stupid stuff that you as a parent will have to put a stop to it, because if they keep playing that game, someone is going to get hurt really bad. Someone is going to get hurt real bad. But then somehow the bar level of ignorance and stupidity went up. 16, 17, 18, 25, 30. You have people talking stuff like that. Yeah, there's no such thing as criminals. I don't know. Here, watch this one. This voter really got me. This voter is a good one.
Think is a bigger threat, Trump girl or Mamdani?
Probably Trump girl.
Yeah, why?
Because she stands for all that Trump stuff.
What's all that?
All that yucky, scary, yucky, racist Trump stuff.
Okay, and what do you like about this dude?
He stands for the opposite, at least based on what I've heard.
He definitely does. One stands for capitalism, free markets, less government, and the other one stands for socialism, more government.
Down, yeah, for sure.
So you're
Watch what happened here right now. She comes full of confidence because she's probably been living in a very sheltered society, group of people that always reinforce their ideas, that always reinforce the way they look at life. And she just comes and she speaks things as if it's the truth, the law from Sinai, God gave the tablets. That's, of course, Trump stands for yucky stuff. And this guy stands for good stuff, And then watch what happened next. She gets challenged. It's always the same story with these libertards.
You like socialism?
Yeah.
All right. Where has socialism worked?
I just put together what's going on.
What's going on?
No, I got it.
Who's making a video? Where has socialism worked well?
Honestly, I don't know enough to be able to answer that question, but
What about Venezuela? How are they doing?
I can't say that I've read much about Venezuela recently. Yeah.
Cuba?
What do you think is more for gay people? His supporters or Trump supporters?
Definitely the Mamdani supporters.
He came out in support of LGBT people, but his supporters tried to cancel him for that. Did you know that?
Certainly not me, and I'm one of him. I'm all for Mamdani.
What's your favorite policy of his?
I don't know enough.
But you're a supporter and you don't know his policies?
I'm just a sort of general,
What if he
go-getter.
just supported, getting rid of all gay people and you didn't know that?
Well, that'd be crazy, but I would probably hear about that one. But I appreciate you guys.
Would you support him?
Probably hear about that one. Yeah.
He is a Muslim. You guys just keep saying that.
Here's the thing about Islam, guys. Let's break it down very simple. If you're a Muslim, you can be pro-gays. This literally, it doesn't go together. I'm not making this up. Ask a Muslim. It can't go together. If you are pro-gay, then you basically going against Islam, and going against Islam is sentenced to death. So it is very, very clear. That was one of the challenges that Islam have brought to itself as a religion, because it was a newer religion, so it expanded over more areas and fields of life, including economy, politics, foreign politics, and also a lot of stuff regarding the way that you live your life. Islam is a very communist religion. Literally, it's very totalitarian, and I don't want to call it communist, but it's very totalitarian, and it takes over every aspect of your life. So it didn't leave any place for interpretation like Judaism and Christianity allowed, which allowed them to open the door to many, many ways. That's impossible. So a Muslim who proclaimed to be Muslim, Mamdani proclaims to be a very proud Muslim. All of his close circle are Antifa radical jihadists, literally from the imams all the way down to his student friends. Imagine the craziest pro-Palestine protester that you've seen in Columbia University and, all these, what was the name of these other universities that I think they just lost their mind? Harvard, and I don't know what. I literally lost respect to all these institutes after what I saw, what they did after October 7th. So when you look at the crazy demonstrators and protesters there, that is a Mamdani. That's the kind of guy you're talking to. And on top of everything, he is a devoted Muslim. So gay people coming and thinking that, he's going to be, Trump is bad for us and this guy is good, you cannot compare a Christian to a Muslim in the way that they look about homosexuality. Cannot compare. In both religions, it is forbidden. In both religions, it's considered a sin. But one religion clearly says to go and kill and throw them and practice that commandment. Go as a gay person to Palestine, go as a gay person to Syria, go as a gay person to Iraq, and see what happened. Go as a gay person to America. I think that's like the capital of gay people. Like literally, there's a lot of gay people in America. Go as a gay person to Israel. Tel Aviv is one of the capitals of gay people. Go as a gay person to Germany, which is considered relatively a Christian country. So you see the difference. There's clearly an no-brainer. Anyone with half a brain cell would know if he was presented with a Muslim candidate and a, Christian secular candidate, that obviously this one is much better for gay people. Doesn't matter his policies, if you like him or not, like his hairstyle or the way that he talk. But that's the voters. That's the voters. Now, let's keep watching. There's a few other crazy voters.
Yeah, but you saying violent, which I understand, but gangs are there for a reason. Gangs are there for community, and they're there because, listen, gangs are formed for a community. They're formed because they're lacking something, and that they couldn't
drug
find,
cartels and human trafficking and
listen,
sex trafficking and gang raping.
No, that's a byproduct of human evil. That's not what gangs.
But you're okay with American citizens going to jail for committing crimes, but you're telling me that when someone that's not an American citizen comes over and commits a crime, they should be allowed to stay.
They should be able to go to American jail.
So you want them to be housed in American jails?
Yeah, they did the crime in America, didn't they?
My God. Someone here left a comment, a very interesting comment. We're going to address it. Jewish Samantha said, you can be pro-gay and Muslim. פשוט לא צריך להיות מוסלמי טוב במיוחד. You just don't need to be a very good Muslim or devoted Muslim. Now let me explain things. It's very important to differentiate between a Muslim person and Islam as a religion. A Muslim person is just a human, just like me and you. Literally, another human walking this earth that have a different belief. He believes in this, believes in that. The thing is that Islam doesn't allow a place for a lot of things that your religions would allow or your societies would allow. So the only place that you can be a pro-gay Muslim person is in Christian countries, in Jewish countries, in Western. You cannot be pro-gay Muslim in a Muslim country. You cannot be a pro-gay Muslim in a Muslim neighborhood, in a Muslim community, because they are very quick to go to violence as well with these things and to oppress and stop it down. So that is the issue here. It's a very good way to explain it is not all Muslims are violent, but Islam is violent. All of it. The religion itself is very violent. Read it, literally. From day one of that religion all the way till the end, it's all about fighting, the sword, conquest, converting by force, colonizing, taxing, looting. Sorry for the word, I don't want to say the word, but a lot of sexual crimes and a lot of stuff involving underage sexual crimes and etc. So that is the religion. Textbook of the religion. So there's a big difference between, now you can have someone who's a Muslim, and I have great Muslim friends, who doesn't practice that in his life. He is literally a peaceful person, and actually sometimes their qualities that they bring with them could be way, way bigger and better than some qualities that I've seen among atheists, people, or people that just literally have no sets of values. Not saying some atheists are amazing as well, but in general, I've seen very, very good Muslim people that are my friends that have a very devoted family life. They respect people, and they have an ethical code that they live by, that anyone would wish to have a neighbor like that. Hand of my heart, some of my best friends. Are they representing Islam? No. They're an extreme side quest in Islam, and they can only live this kind of life because they're outside, of Islam. So that's to summarize that. Now here I have something very, very interesting. This is a quote that was written by Hannah Arendt. She escaped the Nazis, then she spent the rest of her life warning us. The real danger isn't the dictator, it's when ordinary people can no longer tell truth from lies. Ladies and gentlemen, I find this so relevant nowadays, when ordinary people can no longer tell truth from lies. What brought Mamdani to get elected is because ordinary people in New York City cannot tell the difference between truth and lie, cannot tell the difference between good or bad. Some of them don't even believe in the concept anymore of good or bad, good or evil. They just don't. And when you get to a place like that, then bad things starts happening. I would even go and say the reason someone like Mamdani got elected is the universities, is your schools in America. When your school system focus on emotions rather than on facts all the time, how I feel, that's the most important thing in the life. And then your university is run by half-baked intellectual professors who have, deep psychological issues. I've met many of these people. I'm telling you, just the fact that he's a professor doesn't mean he's smart. Just the fact that he's a professor doesn't mean that he actually knows more than you. As a matter of fact, I've met taxi drivers and construction yard workers that were way, way smarter than people in academia. And I was in academia. I studied. I went to university. And I wasn't impressed. I've seen very smart people, but I've seen very not so smart people that just go there and, climb the ropes and keep going. Jewish Samantha wrote something. Let's read it. She's been giving very good comments until now, so I like it. Hannah Arendt also warned the moral sensibility of oppressed can be twisted into the preserved desire to stand always on the side of the victimized in order to remain innocent. That's very true. Very true. Here is, let me expand on what you just said. I think that Mamdani's plan obviously is going to fail. Obviously, like literally. First of all, the guy never had a real job. Never had a job as far as I know, aside from a side quest of going becoming a rapper. He grew up in a very rich family, very spoiled, socialist, communist, liberal, family. Was bred over the Muslim Brotherhood and the hatred toward Israel, hatred toward America and the West. Look at the circle of the people he's standing around. No experience at all. And he's a Gen Z. I mean, he's 33, I think. I don't know. But anyway, young people can be very impressive. They can do great stuff. But, in this case, I don't think that's, the sharpest tool in the shed. I don't think that's the freshest bomba in the bag. So his plans are going to fail, most likely. And then what he's going to do what they always do best, play the victim card. And he's going to divide New York more, put them against each other, always play the race and the victim card and the victimizations. And right now, the ground in New York have never been more fertile for such crazy radical communist jihadist ideas. Literally, half the city or the voters went and voted for someone like that. So I think it's going to be very interesting few years for New York.
New era of leadership. We will fight for you because we are you. Or as we say on Steinway, أنا منكم وإليكم.
أنا منكم وإليكم. I explained that before and I explained that again. I am from you and I'm for you. And when he's saying I'm from you and I'm for you, he's not talking to the LGBT community of New York. He's not talking to the hardworking New Yorkers who still remember better days, or the ones that survived 9/11 and remember it and think like, okay, maybe this guy's going to be different. He's not talking to you guys. He is talking to his communists and his jihadist brothers and sisters. Trust me on that. It's going to be one hell of a ride. Now, watch this. This is one of the main reasons why a lot of Jews right now are very, very concerned of what's going to happen. Although in a bizarre turn of event, there were also quite a few New Yorker Jews that voted for Mamdani. That's, someone need to explain that to me. I still can't understand that. But watch this.
New York is gonna be the safest place on planet Earth. There's no more Israelis in it gonna be. يلا يا mother flower انت ويا اسرائيل يلا pack your bags ويلا على سربرس وعلى بولند وعلى هذا مش don't go back to فلسطين بفضع عضك بشلكك. يلا pack your bags برا عليك انت وياه برا نركض.
You've been to Israel many
So people like that are a good representation. Whenever you ask yourself, is that candidate a good candidate or not? One very good way to find out is go to the extreme edges of his voters or the people who would like him to get elected. Go to the extreme edges, because that's where you're going to get the most raw, most barbaric, most honest response of who wants this person to be elected and who doesn't. And that should give you a very good indication, because when you are inside the storm, when you're inside of New York City, inside the United States, there's so many things coming around that will make it very hard for you sometimes to see the real motives of that candidate. The financial issues, the education, the environmental issues, international issues, all kind of other stuff that are happening. You need to look through all these goggles. Is he good for that? Good for this? Good for that? Go to the edges. When Barack Obama was elected, do you know who was happy? Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Palestine. They rejoiced. Muslim Brotherhood, they loved it that he was elected. A lot of the enemies of the US loved it because they saw a chance for someone who is weak, meek, and who is going to divide America from what they perceived as one of the biggest dangers in America is the American spirit. From the Christian side all the way to just the regular Americans who don't identify as any religion, but still hold these Western values. When Mamdani got elected, who do you think is going to be happy? Same thing. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood. And in that case, also a lot of the communists, a lot of the enemies of Western civilization. So that should help you kind of step aside for a second, go to the extreme, the far edges, people where it's raw, where it's unfiltered, and you will see what's boiling there. And just an example, someone who's just super happy now because thinking finally the Jews are going to be kicked out of New York City. Why are they going to be kicked? Why should they be afraid? Why should the Jews be afraid that a Muslim communist jihadist just became the mayor? Why should they? Obviously, there's a reason for that.
many times.
Yeah. This is, we're going to finish with that. That's a very interesting someone that is, unfortunately, that's the older generation, but he gave such a good answer, I find. Such a good answer to why does he stand with Israel. A makes sense answer. And I am, forget the fact that I'm an Israeli. I'm a Druze from Israel. I grew up in Israel. I served as an officer in the special forces in Israel. You can call me biased. Although I'm not Jew, although I'm a minority, I'm a Druze, which should be a great example to how Israel is treating minorities by giving people like myself and my family all the opportunities to live our dream. I literally received my university degree for free for being a minority in Israel, and I was an officer in the special forces. Most of my soldiers, if not all of them, actually one of my soldiers was Druze. The rest were Jews, Christians, And on a rare occasion, there were a few Muslims as well. So the fact that minorities in Israel can reach these places just shows you about Israel. But anyway, forget about that. I'm in Israel. You might say I'm biased. Listen to what he says. Why should someone in the West, America particularly, and in the West support Israel?
What's your favorite thing about Israel?
The people, the determination that we're going to make it no matter what. So if you ask me what I think about Israel, if somebody came, say a college student, came up to me and suggested, why are we supporting Israel? Why do we give them so much money? Why are we so entangled? Why are we so fixated on helping the one and only Jewish state? Here's what I would tell the young man or young woman. Name one group that wants to destroy Israel, doesn't want to destroy America. I've been to Israel a bunch. I've never had anybody come up and say death to America. A lot of people want to buy me a beer, but nobody has said death to America. We have no better ally. We have common values. We have common enemies. And Israel is fighting our fight. When they take these terrorist groups down, it's one less group to come here and kill us. They would get here if they could. So I am unapologetically supportive of Israel. No better ally in intel sharing. No better reliable ally in the fight against radical Islam versus humanity. So if you don't get that Israel is a benefit to the United States, you should probably flunk out of college.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
There used to be leaders that
We
actually
know
said
big
these
government
things.
does not have all the answers. We know there's not a program for every problem.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
My goodness. My goodness. I don't know if he believes that or the fact that the voters just have no sense of history to realize how dangerous that is to believe nonsense like that. The governments are here to serve us, guys. That's at least my 5 shekel about it. They're here to serve us, but we need to be very careful with them because history shows us again and again and again examples where government that had too much power did very bad stuff. And now mix it with the fact that he's Muslim, that he's a jihadist, that he's a communist. Oh, as if there's not enough warnings on the wall for someone to realize, whoa, bro, what are you saying about government solving all of our problems? What are you saying? Anyway, let's see. I'm going to take some time now to answer some of the questions that you guys had, some of the comments. Someone made a very interesting comment here that I want to try. Okay, this one. Lindsey Graham have turned against Israel recently. He said 2-state solution or no American support. So I'm not aware of that. But let me say this. Not everyone that don't think the same like us is against us. Some might just genuinely harbor bad ideas. But in the big picture, they might still be pro-Israel, pro-Western values. They just have a bad idea. 2-state solution is undoubtedly a bad idea. Very bad idea. It never worked and cannot work with these kind of partners. I mean, if we had different partners, if we had different neighbors, people that actually wanted peace, if our neighbors were, let's say, Singapore, okay, let's take them. They started basically at the same time like Palestine. And then after a few years, we see that, wow, look at these guys. They're building, skyscrapers. They're like advancing in technology and finance and governing. I mean, wow. Woo, what is going on there? Trust me, we'll all be happy to have a neighbor like that. Great. Let's do business together. You come to us, we go to you. And that's how Palestine started. They had no checkpoints. There were no borders. They used to come freely into Israel. We used to go freely there. I remember that. I was there. I was there when the checkpoints started, when all these things started. And they started for a reason. Because instead of building towers and architecture and culture and science and peace, what they did, they built suicide vests, underground tunnels and dungeons to torture their own people and kidnap Israelis. And they started going and shooting and stabbing and shooting and stabbing and killing and repeat. Intifada revolution, Allahu Akbar, Intifada revolution, Allahu Akbar, Ahmed, Mahmoud, Abdul Jabbar, Allahu Akbar, all these stuff, And after a while, you realize these people, they're never going to build anything. They're just going to keep destroying. So now to give them another state is just mind-boggling. Like literally, and not only the fact that they even say themselves, we don't want a one state, two state. We want one state solution. Give us two state so we can come and destroy you and have one state. I mean, you need to be insane. That's like someone who comes and want to build a house in your backyard and you kick him out, and then your neighbor said, no, but let him. But then this guy publicly is saying, once you let me build a house in the backyard, I'm going to go inside, I'm going to break to his house, going to kill everyone, steal everything, kill him, and take his family. I mean, you need to be crazy to want to leave that person in your backyard. Crazy. Like literally no reason. So two-state solution, as far as we've seen so far, is just genuinely a very bad idea. There's no partner for peace there. There's no good neighbor. I wish there was, because then we can talk about it, but there isn't, literally. So we can also talk right now about Martians. Let's talk about the lizard people that want to come and colonize the moon, and maybe they want to come and live in Jerusalem because they believe that Jerusalem belongs to them. Why should we waste time talking about Martians and lizard people that believe that they're from Jerusalem? It's just a waste of time. Same thing talking right now about living in peace with Palestinians, while Palestinians keep saying they don't want to live in peace with us. I just watched today an interview with a October 7 kidnapped survivor who was released, an old lady that used to help the Gazans, drive them and bring them supplies, and was a peace activist. And her family was murdered. She was held captive. She was released. And then the interviewer asked her, watched it today, just today, asked her would you do that again? If you had a chance right now to go and, be a peace activist again and drive aid and supplies and go and help the Palestinians, the Gaza, would you do that again? And her answer was, yes, I'll do that again. Ooh, crazy. That's someone whose family was murdered by them, betrayed by the people that she loved, and then kidnapped. And many would say that is the fault of the Jewish people, that they're peaceful and they're always the dreamers, and there's just many people there that despite all the hate towards them, they will always choose to go back with love and with acts of kindness, which is the greatest strength of the Jewish people of Israel, but also can be, if it's unchecked, can be a big weakness. But that just shows you kind of the mentality here that we're having, that Israel keep always believing in the chance of having a two-state solution with a nation that just doesn't want to have a two-state solution and just want to kill them. So if it was a different story, then yeah, let's talk, but it's not a different story. So it's just a waste of time. I'm going to try to see if there's anyone else that wrote something interesting here. I don't have a moderator now, so... Okay, the position, Jewish Samantha said, the position of mayor of New York City does not include dictating international policy. At Vienna's Jewish history has shown us that anti-Semitism rhetoric can have a global impact. Exactly. And that's what I said right now. This is what it's called the silent jihad. The silent jihad is an effort to help Islam expand by exploiting the weakness of the West. This is, by the way, taught in many mosques around the world, that the West have better tanks, better airplanes, better technology, better training, better soldiers, better economy. Like literally, we can't fight them. That's what Islam says. World, global ummah. Not your Muslim neighbor might not say that, but in general, this is commonly taught in many Muslim institutions, and I've heard it with my own ears and read about it. I speak Arabic. I live this stuff. I understand them. I was in the special forces. I was behind enemy line and defense on the offense. I've seen enough to actually tell you it's true. And then what they say is that we're going to exploit the West from the inside. The weakness of the West is that the West doesn't care about God. They care about man, about the emotions of man. Who am I? What do I feel? What am I doing with myself? How am I feeling? How am I feeling? God is not important anymore. This is literally what we're seeing in the West, by the way. The West is losing its Christian identity. It's losing its religious identity. And they decided to replace religion with science, which is great, but they're dealing with another challenge right now, progress, science, and liberalism, that it doesn't unite people. And that makes you very vulnerable and easy for the taking. And I got to say it clearly, the West is not united. You know, it's the contrary even. The contrary even. Look at, you can come and say there's groups in the West that are united. Let's say the LGBTQ group, the gay people. They're, you know, very small, very oppressed group, and you'd expect small and oppressed groups to be united. In Palestine, they throw gay people out of rooftops. Muslims keep saying they want to kill gay people, who are one of the biggest advocates that we're seeing right now around the world. Again, across the board, you know, there's always, you know, but in general, a lot of the gay people. So in their unity, even, they're suicidal and decide to go inside with the side that want to destroy them. So the only one that could ever, in my eyes, give a fight right now for the expansion and the takeover, the hostile takeover of Islam through silent jihad and through violent jihad over the West is the Christians. If the West go back to its Christian roots, they'll probably be able to stand. Because as far as I'm seeing, I'm not saying this right now as a preacher, I'm not saying this as a religious person, no. I'm saying this right now, looking at the West, I feel like this is probably the only identity and unifying force that the West have that can bring people in the West together and push back. No, you're not going to build more mosques in our city. You're not going to promote Sharia law. We're not going to cover up for, you know, grooming gangs. You're not going to enforce Sharia law in our cities. You're not going to treat women like this. Children, no, out. We know what you're doing. Get out. It's the only one that will do that. The only one. And if you don't do that, they're going to take over. That's just how it is. So let's see if there's any. What do you think about? Let's see. What do you think about the new museum building in Egypt attracting tourists? Is it safe for Western girl to travel to? Absolutely not. No, it's not safe. I'm not kidding. Whoever's asking this, any Muslim country, except from Dubai, for a woman alone to go there is not safe. 9 out of 10 will be safe. 99 is still statistics you don't want to play with. I once had a real story. I was volunteering at a hostel in Israel called The Shelter. It's a backpacking hostel. And I used to do shifts there just to help, you know, the traveler. I was a young person just after the army, and I was helping there with the backpack. I did the Israel Trail. I used to hike a lot of the desert, so I'll prepare them for going for hikes in the desert and etc. And someone came and called me and told me, hey, listen, can you talk to this girl? I think she was from Holland or Germany. She want to go to Egypt alone, a blonde European girl. And I came to her and I said, hey, listen, you know, maybe it's not wise for you to go there alone. And she went out on me, literally started kind of calling me names. Oh, you're a chauvinist, you're this, you're that, bigot, I don't know what. You man, you think you need to save all the girls. It's such a blah, blah, blah. Like, was going full on feminist on steroids on me. And I was just telling her, listen, I'm telling you myself, as someone who understands this culture, grew up in this culture, grew up in an Arabic house. I'm a Druze. I know what I'm talking about. It's just not a good idea. Didn't want to listen to me, kicked me off, called me names. She went there, and while she was in the street, a group of men ran to her, started grabbing her and trying to rip her clothes and pull her hair, and they wanted to rape her. And then when she was screaming for help, more men came and joined the rape. So the more she screamed for help, the more men heard that there's a Western woman here that is being sexually assaulted, and they came and joined. And they literally ripped the hair out of her skull, badly wounded her. She survived, and she got back to Israel, to Eilat, my city, and she was in the hospital, and I got to meet her after. I didn't tell her I told you so, but I just felt terribly sad that that was the price that a woman had to pay. So to that question, if you're a woman alone, don't go to a Muslim country. Don't. That's my advice. If you are with a man or with a group that is, you know, organized, orchestrated group with, you know, reputation, security, and etc., and you know, that have done this several times, and you know the itinerary, you're gonna stay in hotel in touristic areas and etc. and etc. etc., then okay, that's a different story. But in general, really, if you're a woman alone, don't go to Muslim countries, and definitely don't go there and walk in the streets. Definitely not in the middle of the night. That's my advice. Take it or leave it. I mean what I'm saying here from experience. I've seen enough. Let's see if there's anyone else. Is Azerbaijan safe? I don't know. I don't know enough about Azerbaijan to tell you. I don't want to tell you. In general, just, frankly speaking, in general, many places in the world are not safe for women to travel alone. It's just what it is. Like it or not, that's the reality. I was once traveling in Peru, in South America. I did like a half year hiking in the jungles and I don't know what. And we were a group of 3 guys. And we were just going around everywhere. Walking in the night, going exploring the city, going hiking in the mountains, I don't know what. And then one day, a sister of my friend, my best friend, sister Nadia, came and surprised us and joined us in Cusco. And we wanted to go and meet with her brother and his friend, and they were sitting in a bar somewhere. So we started walking in the middle of the night, and we're staying in a hostel in the middle of the mountains there. And that was the first time that I felt not so safe, because she was a beautiful blonde young girl, and everybody in the streets were staring at her. People were staring, whispering, talking, pointing fingers, and I felt like, whoa. Girls traveling can be more challenging when you go to third world countries. So in general, I would say it is something to consider. So Azerbaijan, is it safe to go there? Probably it is, maybe it is. But if you're talking about going just as a female by yourself to a Muslim country, no. Like it or not, I don't care. That's my advice. Gabriel is saying, Mansu, I saw the New Yorkers does not have education regarding geopolitics, only in failed communist countries. Every election was won with free offers. And after they woke up in a disaster. That is true, guys. Honestly, going back to New York, it's a prime example of a young demographic of voters that their life is too comfortable. Haven't been outside the US probably, and did not experience real life outside of a first world democratical country. Haven't been to the Middle East. They probably haven't been to a real communist country. They haven't been to a third world country properly. I mean, going to Cancun for a senior frog with a bunch of American friends, it's not really experiencing the vibe and the culture there. So I feel like that was a big part. It played a big part in having someone so radical be elected. Are there any great question? Atheist Gamer is asking. I love his profile picture. I keep forgetting which game it was from, but are there a downside to Christian nationalism? Absolutely. I mean, come on. Let's look at the times of the church. There were great things, but there were a lot of crazy bad things. I mean, the church was the number one client of burning scientists for a very long time. Oh, the earth is not flat. Burn him. Oh, that woman, we don't like her. She's a witch. She have cats. Kill her. Or she's smart. She talks. She's a witch. Kill her. So, yeah, that thing happened under the church. Let's be honest. There was a lot of crazy stuff happening. In general, nationalism is, I'll say it that way. Every religion, Hunt Showdown, exactly. Love that game. It was a really good game. Every religion have the potential to be exploited by people who want to control other people and use it for their own benefits or agenda. Power, fame, money, or all three together. Or just to, fulfill their thirst and lust for violence and all kind of crazy stuff. That's why if you watch the Book of Eli, that's a really cool book. One of the things he's talking about there, the bad guy, is that he remembers the days that there was a Bible, a book. But we all understand it later on, it's the Bible. And he want to find it because he realized you can control the people with that book. So religion can easily be manipulated to control the masses. Nationalism is a great tool to do that. Now, some religions is just much harder to do it. Christianity and Judaism, at the core of these religions, are very peaceful religions. Very peaceful, and religions that actually promote a lot of the values that we stand on today. Every one of us today in the West is standing on Judeo-Christian values, like it or not. That's literally what brought us later on, opened the door for democracy and freedom that we see. So many things came from there, and the Roman Empire and etc. But in general, Islam is just very challenging, very easily used to manipulate. That's why I look at all the Muslim countries; they're extremely failing. No freedom of speech there, no human rights there, no women's right, no children right, abusive, racist, to the extent. It's just crazy. Look at what's happening in Sudan. Do people understand? I'm just finishing to make a video about it. In Sudan, in 10 days, more humans died than in 2 years war with Israel and Gaza. The entire war in Gaza for 2 years had less civilian casualties than 10 days of Arab Muslims going around Sudan and killing everyone simply because they're Christian or because they're black. That's the reason. By the way, Sudan, if you don't understand, is ruled basically by the brown Muslims, and they're going and killing the black Muslims and the Christians. Doesn't matter if you're Christian, and they're just been doing it. More than 2.5 million people died in the Second Sudan War. I think 1983 to 2005, if I'm not wrong. And then about 300,000 people died in the Darfur genocide, 2003 to 2008, I think. Don't get me on the numbers, but like in 5 years, 3,100 people died. In 22 years, 2.5 million people died. And then there was skirmishes. There was always war there. And then in the last 2 years, 2023 to 2025, they estimate that 400,000 humans were massacred. Not with a 500 kg bomb from Helldiver, not from the nuke that dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No, with machetes and knives and machine guns and AK-47s dragging them. They literally can see the blood of villages that were massacred, blood staining the ground, the sand. They can see that from satellites. Let me say that again. They estimate about 400,000 humans massacred by the Muslims during the same time frame of October 7, 2023, 2024. That's exactly the same time. So on October 7 onwards, Israel goes to war to defeat an enemy that came to genocide it and to bring back its hostages that were kidnapped, babies included, and women, and little daughters, and elderly, and just anything. But 60,000 people die, give or take. Most of them are terrorists. All the rest died because they were used as human shields, literally, not because Israel had any intention. Israel get called a genocide state, a Nazi state, and all the world starts singing. In Sudan, at the same time, 400,000 people get butchered and killed. It's all filmed and recorded by the people who did it, and they all say they did it in the name of Allah. They even all say we're doing it because they're not like us, either because of the color of their skin or because their religion. They're Christians. We want to kill them. We're Muslims. So if that is not the definition of a genocide, then what is? What is the textbook definition of a genocide, ethnic cleansing happening with the numbers, with the credentials? With the credentials happening. Bam, nothing. So people who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. New Yorkers who have no idea about the danger of Islam, of jihad, of communism are doomed to destroy their city. And that's probably what we're seeing. But either way, guys, let's see if there's any other interesting questions here. Shalom, shalom, Bookmos. Yes, Zohran Mamdani is an IRGC agent. Here's the thing. Even if he isn't, how much easier do you think it's going to be for the Islamic Republic of Iran, Muslim Brotherhood worldwide, to influence him? How much easier is it going to be? to influence him than to influence, another candidate, the guy with a red beret on his head, that crazy gangster guy that got shot 5 times and the mafia kidnapped him, tried to beat him up. I don't know, crazy guy. I mean, he just have a crazy story. It's such a sad thing that they didn't elect him. If young New Yorkers were cool, they would elect this guy. This guy was fighting the mafia, was from the founder, of New York City, kind of the vibe. He was kidnapped by the mafia in a taxi. They shot him in the chest. He was kidnapped by the mafia before that, apparently, for standing against the mafia and beat up in baseball bats. Literally, a bunch of guys beat him up. He was in the hospital. Came out and says, I'm going to keep exposing them. Then a taxi driver grabs him, takes him in, and starts shooting him 5 bullets in the chest. He jumps out of the taxi, apparently from the window. He survived. He keeps going. Cool guy, all in all. I would just elect him for being that the cool, bad, Tusik, old New Yorker that's walking with the beret. I don't know what. If New Yorkers, young, were cool, they would elect him. But who did they elect? A young hobo with no life experience, no real job, that grew up in a millionaire house, that never really worked, and have communist, radical, jihadist ideology. That's who they elected. So it just shows you. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the one that was running to become, I forgot his name, in New York City. That's what I heard. There was 2 other candidates. One of them got like 7%, just an old funny guy with a red beret. Maybe he have crazy ideas. I don't know. I didn't really go into his policies, but I just know the story about him. So, yeah, just want to say that. And guys, if you stayed until here and if you don't have any other interesting questions, I just want to remind everyone, if you enjoyed the channel, go and check my Patreon. Sliwa, maybe that's the name. I need to check, Google it. Again, I'm not New Yorker. It's not really into. There was a guy that he's a little bit chubby and he have a red beret, red kumta, that carries it with him. And he said that he got shot several times, and that story is quite out there. You can go and Google it. So again, don't forget to do like, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. Help this channel keep growing. Thanks for watching the videos. If you want to help support the work that I'm doing, go and check my Patreon. Practical, direct ways that you can go and find it there, starting from $3 a month. That's basically a cup of coffee for most people. But for content creators like us, it is the side hustle, call it, and financial security that we can keep making videos, knowing that there is something to fall back on. So if you anyone want to help, not only me, any other content creator, you want to help them, some of them have Patreon, go and check their Patreon. It's a great way to support them. Curtis Silva, Red Beret, founder of the Guardian Angel. He used to work, I think, in McDonald's back in the days, or some burger thing. And they tried to defund the police then. Apparently, there was, it comes in waves, and there was just not enough police people to protect them. So he started the Guardian Angel, from what I understood, and they were going around in subways and, after work, they're going around and walking the streets and just, protecting the civilians, vigilante kind of style, and just beating the crap out of idiots. So I'll grab my bow. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. And by the way, if anyone here, like Atheist Gamer and myself and other likes to play games, I would strongly recommend try Arc Raiders. Fun game. Pretty cool for preppers. Have you been to Uganda? How does a dude like Zohran make it in New York City? Yeah, I've been to Uganda. I've literally helped build a school in Uganda, an orphanage in the mountains. I've been there many times. There's crazy stuff happening in Uganda. Crazy stuff, It's, let's just say, they're quite behind on a lot of the human rights aspects. Heck, the mountain that I was in Uganda was still sacrificing children, executing gay people, or putting them in jail. And there was still, if you were an albino, many people will just kill you over there and will give your body to a witch doctor, which will cut him to pieces and then use it to sell it as a blessing in potions or in other amulets. Crazy. I'm talking serious stuff. So there is places like that still in Uganda. So just, put your head together of the places Mamdani came from. I haven't played Syrian warfare. No, I want to try to play. Want to start playing the squad. I heard that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good game. But yeah, maybe you can tell me something about it. But I don't want to bore everyone else here. So thank you for sticking around, guys. Next episode, Atheist Gamer, tell me about the Syrian warfare. Sounds like a cool game. Stay safe, and like I always say, don't do anything stupid. In general, don't do anything that I would do. See you next time.